I apologize about the delay. Welcome to Monday night's August 26, 2024, 6 p.m. school board meeting, our regular meeting agenda. Madam Secretary?
McCarthy,
Present.
Evans,
Present.
Wester present, Laster,
Present.
Piles,
Excused.
Kennard,
Excused.
and Davis.
Excused.
Thank you.
Thank
We
you,
stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. It is 6:13.
Be it resolved that the Board of Education accepts the August 26, 2024 meeting agenda as amended. When we get to the report of the Director of Operations, number 11, we will add the motion there. Do I support?
Support.
It's been motioned by Laster, supported by McCarthy.
To add the,
Motion under
okay.
number 11, Director of Operations. Thank you.
McCarthy,
Yes.
Evans,
Yes.
Laster,
Yes,
Wester, yes. Motion is approved.
thank you. We are at public comment.
Miss Rita Hampton. Good evening.
I just want to throw out some couple of congratulations. I want to say great golf outing. It was outing birdies for Eagles. Thank you, Dr. Edmondson, for being the spear of that. It was delicious. Bringing us all together, the community. Thanks to all the RC friends, custodians, educational groups, the parents, even the teachers who golfed, the teacher, players, volunteers, and donors who made this golf outing delicious. Thanks to the board president, Ms. Laster. I want to thank you for the last two board meetings. You have been exceptional, and I will say it fits the 3 E's of boardmanship. You're evident, efficient, and effective. The last board meeting, I was home by 8:00 p.m. I hope this is the end of Monday night board meetings, date night with pizza. Thank you so much. Continue on. I'm proud of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I hope I can make you proud. Next, we are at presentation. We have a presentation for the Hale Creek Resource Closet by Ms. Olivia Flinkman. I want to introduce her. I wrote a few things so I don't go off script because you know me, I can go there. I'm delighted to introduce Olivia. She's a cadet Girl Scout and a 7th grader with a true servant's heart. She has taken the initiative to create a resource closet that will be housed at Hale Creek, aiming to provide students with a resource that they need. I don't want to steal her thunder, so I'll let her share more about her incredible project, but we are truly excited to have her here, and thank you so much for joining us.
Good evening. Thank you, President Laster, for inviting me to share my Silver Award project with all of you. My name is Olivia Flinkman, and I'm a cadet in Troop 76473. This is my 8th year as a Girl Scout in Southgate. The Silver Award is the highest award a Girl Scout cadet can earn and gives you the chance to show that you are a leader who is organized, determined, and dedicated to improving your community. My mom, Julie Flinkman, is a teacher at Hale Creek. Many students are in need of basic necessities, and we were always shopping for shoes, coats, and clothes. So that's when I got to thinking, how can I make a change? I then came up with the idea of the resource closet. Shout out to Mr. Parker for providing me a space and opportunity to create the resource closet at Hale Creek. The requirement for a silver award is a minimum of 50 hours of service. This was a much larger project than I expected, and I spent over 150 hours working on my project. I started by emptying the room, washing the walls, and picking out paint colors. I designed and budgeted. My mom and I painted the room and installed new flooring. I held a clothing drive and received so many donations. I made a wish list and packages were delivered daily. There were so many generous people wanting to help. I shopped for items that were needed. Finally, it was time to start putting the room together. Shelves were built, clothes were sorted, thanks to the help of my family. Day after day, I continued to sort and fill the room with deliveries. I decorated and made the room cozy. The room got very full, which is great. I made personal hygiene bags for the girls. I painted a mural at the entry with one of my art teachers. You might be wondering how this was all funded. I asked my family and friends in the community for donations using a Facebook group. I raised over $2,600 in monetary donations. I also shared my journey so people could see my progress and be inspired to help others in need. As of today, Hale Creek's Resource Closet is open. Thank you.
Olivia, we want to present you with a small token and some flowers. Thank you for all your hard work. Thank you. You guys want to take a picture with them? Mom, you want to give me a picture too? Please cover up her picture, Mama. She needs help with her resource closet, Olivia.
Yes. Very good job. Well done.
President, can I say?
Before she leaves, I think, you have something that you'd like to share?
I just want to say thank you so much, Olivia, for your hard work and that dedication to be a youngster, a young child, to go out and to help those in need. That I am very proud of you.
So fortunately, I had a chance to go over today to see it. First of all, not only does she deserve some applause, but I looked and I was like, ooh, who did this floor? I mean, the floor is just beautiful. And then it was her mother. Her mother laid the floor, so you better be careful. That's all I'm gonna say. You be careful going over to high school, middle school. We might need you. But as a student, or doing this kind of work, you have to have a parent behind you. I see her father is here as well. So it takes a village to raise a child, certainly. But this was great. What I saw was great, and to be that conscious at such a young age, to have a service mind like that is outstanding. But it was so organized. I mean, those of us who are doing the McKinney-Vento here in this building can go over to the what's the name of it? The resource closet, and get some ideas, because it is so organized. The only thing I didn't see was mouthwash. Everything else was good. I'm going to add mouthwash, but what a great resource. And I said that should be the standard for all of our schools. If you take a look, and it shouldn't necessarily be the Girl Scouts, but if the Girl Scouts wanted to take that on and put that in all of our schools, that would be great. But I would encourage anyone that's in education or has any kind of civic mind to go on over there and see what you're going to see. It was very, very impressive. Very, very clean. The inventory, they have a little sheet there, how many products are taken, and I don't think you have the name of the person though, right? You don't have the name?
We are doing initials so that if somebody
Okay.
gets a coat, so that,
Okay. Yeah.
sometimes kids come multiple times, but just to keep track of how many kids we're helping and what we can replenish. She still has some money left over from her donations that she will replenish by the end of the year, what needs to be done before turned over to just the school. And the fire department has also
Yes. It was amazing. It had a lot of coats and things too. Is it Evan? Evan? Yes. Evan is the brother. So I want to at least introduce him to sometimes when your sibling is getting all the claps and then you're sitting in the background. But I know you have to be a good brother to be able to sit through this and, be there with your sister. And I don't want to say sit through it, but to be here. You were at both events. So I know you've been there since 4 o'clock, so it's been a long day. So thank you to the whole Flinkman family. Thank you so much for that. And hope to see you again sometime soon.
Olivia, I do have a question. How can other donate to this? Do you have a website? Do you have, do we go through your mother? Do you have a Girl Scout email that we can go
it's
through?
through me at this
Through you at this point?
I'm one of the co-leaders
Okay.
for the last 8 years, and so we will leave it in Hale Creek's hands after that. So you could help, if somebody wants to help, they can send it to Ms. Carter or myself, and we will see that it is put to good use.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next, we are at the CTE presentation. I want to introduce Dr. Jamie Nelson-Monar, who will give us an update on CTE. Welcome.
It's always dangerous to follow a student. I'm going to tell you that. It's always dangerous.
We should walk out now.
Claps get stingy. People get stingy with their claps and stuff. I'm just saying.
That was amazing. Can I take this off? Okay. Hello, I kind of talking both ways here. Good evening. My name is, like she said, Jamie Nelson-Monar, and for those who don't know me, after I stepped out of college, I started teaching at Romulus High School for the next 19 years. The last 6 of those years, I did Romulus Early College, and in the last 3 of those years, I worked half-time at Belleville setting up their early college while still being Romulus Early College director, and then I had a few moments of lapse of thought and decided to spend a little more time with the Tigers as their CT director, and it was a wonderful experience, but it wasn't home, and I cannot tell you how happy I am to be back home. And that isn't just something cheesy I said to Ben. It's really how I feel in my heart. Okay, and so today, I am not as amazing as the student, but I have all good news to share with you about great things happening with CTE. And CTE, as simple as it might sound, does stand for Career and Technical Education, because I know it's always just referred to as CTE. Oh, okay. Okay, the great news is that exemplary CTE is returning to Romulus. For those of you who have been around forever who might remember Mr. Barnes or Mr. McLean and the auto shop, we had great CT programs, and even more recently, health occupations. We've often had striving programs, but we have let it slide a little, and the great news is we are bringing it back, and we are bringing it back big. It's gonna be a wild ride, but what we're bringing is gonna make you all proud. So our plan is four-faceted. One thing we're gonna do is start new programs. Last year we applied, and this year we are getting approved and running the first year of Teacher Cadet, which I'll talk about later. We are going to grow our current programs of culinary arts and accounting and finance. We are enhancing former programs. This is very exciting. We're bringing back health sciences, which was formerly called health occupations, but now the state calls it health sciences. And we are developing future programs, and this is a big deal in the works with welding. All right, funding. I know this is an important thing because Perkins is the word that always goes with funding. For Perkins, you have to have 3 or more state-approved CTE programs running at a time. Last year, we had 1 class, not program. This year we have 4 programs and 1 in development. So our Perkins funding returns starting next year because you get it after the kids are in the class. So that is wonderful news because that's going to bring in so much money for these special programs and so many more opportunities for the kids. I want to share the teachers. I'm really excited. Our department, the CT department at the high school is, we're definitely very excited and working together this year. And I'm honored to introduce Stacy Metzger, who is going to be teaching our health science classes, and Enrique Rimbert, who is doing our culinary arts classes. And I am lucky to be CT director because they are both so gung-ho. We've been talking a lot over the weekends, and they're experts in their crafts, so the kids are going to love them. And then I'm doing teacher cadet, if I didn't say that. And then we have Brian Whitfield, who does accounting and finance, who couldn't be with us tonight. So there's 4 components of a CTE program. And I think one thing I really want to emphasize is that CTE, they are programs. The teacher is being a classroom teacher. They're teaching an entire specialty such as nursing or culinary arts. They have to provide laboratory learning for their students, work-based learning experience, and provide a leadership organization they can be a part of. CT teachers also have to do a ton of extra reporting for us to be able to get that money. So if you see a CT teacher, they're pretty amazing people, I would say, for what they're doing for our kids. And so I want to talk to you about our programs. We have culinary arts. These are just going to be the very basics already. Mr. Rimbert, last year was your first year? Okay, so this is like, we're starting fresh this year. The kids loved him last year. So they already started doing some local catering events for the area and the school. They're getting hands-on experience in the culinary industry. And at the end, they also get a Serve Safe certification, which I believe is necessary to work in business of culinary arts. Accounting and finance is an excellent class for those going into business. It's great for pre-business students, excellent career opportunities, and you can earn college credits and career credentials. I'll talk about this a little more later, but with CTE, you can earn college credits in almost every class. So people think of like, it's either the trades, which is a really old word, or college, and it's not that way at all. Some of our programs, you need to go to college afterwards. In some, you go right into your career. CTE means you're getting a jump start on your future career, and that looks many different ways. Health science, this is awesome because we all know nurses are in great demand. They can earn a CCMA at the end of the program, a certified medical assistant. They intern at a health facility, and Ms. Metzger actually still works in a hospital, and so they're going to be working in an actual hospital. And it's a great introduction to the medical field. And with all these classes, it's great if someone wants to go in the medical field, and it's also great if they figure out they don't like the medical field, because they just save themselves 4 years of college and learn more about themselves. The one I want to talk to you a little bit more about is Teacher Cadet, because it's the one I'm bringing. Teacher Cadet was created to try to help, I guess I'm sorry, I'm talking to you guys too, the shortage of teachers and how if something is not done and we don't recruit people back into this profession, our grandchildren and great-grandchildren will not have schools anywhere close to what we know it. So Teacher Cadet is to get kids excited about education again, about being teachers, about working with students, even about leadership. And then, so part of the class is we teach the fundamentals of education, such as educational psychology, human development, teaching techniques. And then our kids, our high school students, go and work with the Early Childhood Center. We have a partnership already, and they have been so nice. Once a week, we take the bus over there, and our students can practice some of their teaching skills while also helping the younger children. The second year, when Teacher Cadets come back, they can work in elementary school buildings or other placements. And then and these wonderful ladies will tell you I would do this for any student, but my plan is to mentor the students through college because then we can keep them. And the idea is to help them the whole way so that they keep wanting to come back and they return to teach at Romulus. My goal is to, at 2030, have the first Romulus Teacher Cadet stand up here and accept a job. Welding is the new and exciting program. If you haven't heard about it, a lot of those in the room and the board and administration, we have been visiting welding studios at multiple area tech centers and high schools because we were awarded a $1.6 million grant and was chosen to build a welding studio at the high school. We're very lucky that we have that space because one of the problems is schools don't even have spaces to do these programs. So to have that was amazing. One of the main reasons we decided in welding is because it is high wage. We're talking $30 an hour out the door, probably more. High demand, there's tons of jobs open, and immediate employment. This is one of the programs that when they graduate, they're hired. And something that there are waiting lists at multiple local schools. So in Wayne County, there are waiting lists at more than one school. So this would actually bring, what our goal would be to bring our old kids back, but bring people to our school because we're offering a program that no one else is, or that they can't get into. There's many benefits to students, and I don't need to go through all of these, but just the kids are really being part of programs. They're really jumping into their future ahead of time, learning networking, learning skills. It's just so much more than just an hour of class time. And I just wanted to end with a fact. This is a recent, as of this year. CTE concentrators. So that means they don't even have to finish the program, just that they have been in the program for more than 1 year. 95.95% graduation rate. Non-CTE students, 81.01% graduation rate. I mean, just there says that our kids need this, and I'm really excited to be one of the people that gets to bring all of this and work with these wonderful people. And I just put offering more for our students so all students can learn, not just the one that can sit and listen and fill out, do math all day. They might learn that they're great at math by building something. So thank you for having me. Do you have any questions? All right, that made it easy. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Moner. We appreciate. I'm sorry. They need to.
Miss
have to
Rogers, I
excuse
believe
me.
Miss Rogers had her hand up.
No, who's next? I could answer
No,
something, but I
please,
prefer
no.
Secretary
No, please, no.
Thank you. I just wanted to say thank you for doing this presentation and letting us know what exciting CT programs we have. I can't wait. You've already been up and running. I've been with you for years, so I already know what you bring to the table, and glad to see you here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, I have not known you for years. I've known you for months. But the one thing that I can say is, first of all, tremendous passion and experience and expertise, and I appreciate that because this is not, I'd say it's a passion of mine. It's just definitely not my expertise. You took us to Flat Rock. We went to Woodhaven. We went to Randolph in Detroit, and I forgot the other. It starts with a B. Bright something? Brightoff. And, what I saw in those welding programs was phenomenal. And, of course, I got excited about what this can be for us. The one common thread that I saw in all of those programs was the importance of the instructor. The instructor brought everything. The instructor got us excited about welding, all of those instructors. And I also learned that it's a competitive field, but, for the board to know, like CTE it's different. So sometimes you have an issue where people with a degree get a little bit, when they see somebody who doesn't have a degree but has multiple certificates, kind of look down on them like, oh, we can't pay that person that. They don't. And we need to get that under wraps. In this country, we need to get that under wraps because these
Teachers don't take jobs as educators because it's a pay cut.
right.
Right.
Yeah.
So we should respect and bring those, we can find the right person that can change the.
Go ahead, and then I'll go again.
I have one question. Were any of these schools that you visited doing fiber optic welding? The electrical lines, okay, and the telephone lines?
Telephone lines?
Telephone lines.
Randolph.
the-
We were at Randolph, and Randolph had the telephone lines right out. It was neat. It was neat.
Right. In Chicago, that's one of the things that they require. If you're taking down a pole, you must have new fiber optic lines throughout everything. So,
I was, just for me, the total experience this whole summer, we went to those 4, and I couldn't be more excited about this district. I mean, no other way to say it. I couldn't be more excited about offerings. It's about offerings. It's about things that are different that other people don't, that other schools don't offer. And, I just got excited about what it could be. Don't rush. I don't want to rush anything and then it's not done right. My philosophy is always do it right the first time. If it takes you a little bit longer, that's fine. But also, what I saw by asking questions is if you lose your CTE person, then people snatch them from another district to bring them over, and $5,000 more, they'll bring them over. So if we're going to invest, we have to have that conversation. And I know we have the support of the union to at least have the conversation that it needs to look a little bit different. You're not just bringing somebody in at 55 and think they're going to be okay. That's not going to work based on what I saw. And another thing that I thought was really interesting, and I haven't seen this anywhere, is that in the welding program, and I believe I shot it to the board, I know I did, they had the average starting salary per hour. And I think we need to do that with a number of fields that are out there so people can understand. A teacher might be making $42, but guess what? Somebody that's driving a crane or doing a crane is $80 an hour.
Right.
So we need to do things so that kids can see that, oh my, I never thought about that,
And I think we need to, as a district, but also nationwide, the whole idea that trades are less than, or a college degree is less than, is just not true anymore at all. I think we're moving in a direction that we need to continue that a college degree, a trade degree, certificate, all of those things are great futures for students, and they should be as proud of it.
And I think that's changing, but I said I graduated high school in '87, and the people that went to wood shop, we were like, ooh, they're going to wood shop. Like, we're going to college, they're going to wood shop. There was this prevalent mindset back then, and it was perpetuated by educators too, that you're going to go to college, you're not going to go. I think it's changing. I don't think it's changed, but I definitely know that it's changing. And it has to change from educators and all of us that are sitting on the board, or a superintendent, or some directors. That's the only way that it's going to change, is that you start bringing programs, you start bringing people in those fields to move your district forward. Thank you.
Well, I'll just end with, when I was in Romulus, CTE was thriving. Students were coming here for our program. So I know that our students are in good hands, as you was one of my former teachers. So you took very good care of me. I know you will with our students, and I'm excited to see the program grow. So thank you so much.
Well, we also want to, I'm sorry that the 2 teachers that were here, just want to welcome you. Well, Enrique, I know you, okay? And I expect to see a food truck, just so we're clear. I expect to see a food truck. But the health ops teacher, I saw you today. I didn't know who you were, but I did give up my seat for you. I do remember that. I gave up my seat for you. So welcome to our district, and I hope that you have a wonderful time here.
We are at the summer school presentation led by Dr. Gardner and her wonderful summer school team.
Good evening, Board. I'll be before you briefly because we have our team here. I am going to start off our presentation for our summer school program. I want to say I do believe it was a success, and I'm looking forward to not only the success, but the succession of it. One thing we did different this year is what I put in place are deliverable folders. I'll use our superintendent term, we plan from A to Z. So we have folders, K through 12 summer school, planning from A to Z that's already in place on every aspect of summer school. So next year, when it's time to plan for summer school, we already have everything in place. All we gotta do is change the date. So that's something I'm very proud of, and thank you to our team for ensuring that we already got that done in regards to the planning for our summer school program. At this time, I'm gonna bring up Kathy Balcom, who's going to present on our elementary portion of our summer school program, which will be led by Akua Marshall, then Dominic Contazarette.
Thank you. I'm Kathy Balcom. For those of you that don't know me, I've taught in the district for 20 plus years, we'll just say. High school Spanish teacher, but I have had the honor of doing the summer school co-coordinator position along with Matt Capalla for the last 4 years in a row. And I will give kudos to Dr. Gardner because you helped us orchestrate and kick off a very organized summer school program because of the deliverables that we had much talk about that, but the deliverables delivered, I feel like. So Matt Capalla's not here. Akua Marshall was our principal for the secondary program, and the elementary group is not here this evening. So I'm going to kick us off just with a few slides about what was accomplished with the elementary summer school program. So this was K-5, and this was housed at the high school. So we gave up our building for them. One of the great benefits of having elementary at the high school is you have a bigger space. So they had a lot of room for their enrichment program, which included art and swim. So we had, is it Vicki McTaw did the swim, and she's very passionate, for those of you who know her, about the swimming. So that was great. They kicked off their program with a teacher-led PD to increase agency and get all their teachers on board. They focused on small class sizes for individualized attention this year. I had the honor of walking into the building several times, getting supplies out of my office and seeing the teacher that it was in my classroom teaching, and it was always just quiet, like very productive work going on in the building. It was really great to see this summer. They also had transportation provided, and this was district-wide. We also had that for our secondary program as well. And then this was our second year that we brought in student leaders, which were amazing to have, especially for the elementary program. We wish we had those for the secondary as well. But they were recent graduates, or some of them are high school students currently, who came into the building every day to help lead the groups of students. They would bring lunches to them. They would sit down and do individual work one-on-one with those elementary students every day. So here are some of our results in terms of growth. All district-wide, we did a pre-test, and then we also gave post-test this year. And this was secondary and elementary as well. So you can see here that grade 1 had the biggest increase for literacy, 46.6% increase, and grade 4 also had a 25% increase for literacy. And with math, their post-test was off the charts for grades K and the third graders, with a 94% for kindergarten and a 80.9% post-test grade for the third graders. Attendance was an expectation. We had very strict attendance policies district-wide between elementary and secondary both. You can see that there is some increase in the percentage of students in the third and fourth grade levels of who completed the program. And you can also, so you can see that 80% of those students completed. You can also see, I don't know, does anyone else want to say? Sorry. Okay. All right. Some of those notes here on this table are summed up in their bullets here. So 80% of the second, third, and fourth graders that signed up showed up. 80% of the third and fourth graders did actually complete the program. Of the 241 students that actually attended summer learning, 160 of those students completed the program for K-5. And kindergarten and third grade showed more than 80% passing rate. And give kudos to Miss Caitlin Becker, it was Sarah Shipkasi, those were the two co-coordinators, and Dr. Dan Hilliard, who was the principal of the summer school program, who are not here this evening. So, thank you. And Akua Marshall, our awesome secondary leader.
Good evening, everyone. So I'm Akua Marshall. I had an opportunity to serve as summer school secondary administrator throughout the summer. And like Dr. Gardner said, we did have a very good start and very smooth selling overall because there was a lot of intentionality and planning involved throughout our summer. Here are some highlight pictures just to give you an idea what it looked like. We had a hybrid at the middle school level between live teaching. Also, we had some online virtual learning as well where the students had to go to Edgenuity to learn, but our teachers were there as support throughout the way. Here's some highlights from the summer, just give you an overview of what our summer school program looked like. Middle school and high school was located at the middle school. We were very intentional about separating the middle school and high school students from each other. So we had break times and lunch times. They were away from one another. We also had ambassadors in place to help make sure things went smoothly throughout the summer. Summer school lasted for 5 weeks this year. It was a little bit of a change, and we went from 8 o'clock to 12:30. What was really nice that we had after summer school was over was Bright Futures. Students had an opportunity, the middle school students had an opportunity to go to Bright Futures if they wanted to and learn various things throughout the summer. As for our students in the virtual program in RVLC, the middle school level and the high school level, they had an opportunity to meet with Mr. Catanzarite, and he'll talk a little bit later about some of the things he implemented throughout the summer. So we had things for middle school, high school, and our virtual learners throughout the summer. Some of our data, overall, like I said, we were very intentional. I talked to people throughout the years. How do we measure summer school? We know we want to see students in the seats. However, how do we go about saying from the beginning of summer school to the end of summer school? We had a lot of planning meetings from like maybe April or so, maybe before then, until summer school started to talk about that. So we did these pre-tests. And we looked at standards that our students needed to achieve and grow in. And so those pre and post tests were based on the standards. And overall, we were really pleased. I'm gonna go a little bit forward and I'll come back here. Overall, we were pleased with the data that we've seen with the pre and post tests. So when we look at the 6th grade for ELA, when the students took it at the beginning of the summer, the average for the pretest was 28%. And then it went up to 56%. In math, you can see that the gap was not as much, but you did see growth as well in the math. In 7th grade, you can see in the ELA, 46% was the pre-test and then 68% for the post-test. With the math, it stayed the same. So throughout the summer, as teachers and educators, we got together and said, okay, we did surveys at the end. What can we do to make sure that we grow our program? So it went smooth, but we asked teachers, what can we do differently so we can see that math and we can see the reading gains even more. But pretty good overall when it came to our data. 8th grade started off with 58% when we looked at the pretest for English, and then 76% math, 46%, and 59%. As for our enrollment, I skipped over that on the beginning. As for our enrollment, we started off thinking that we were going to have middle school level, at least 99 students to attend. However, some students just did not attend summer school, or we did have to dismiss students for behavior and attendance. We sat down together as a team, as administrators, educators, before we walked into summer school. What do we want our expectations to look like? And so we decided that when it came to attendance, they only could miss so many days. When it came to being tardy and being late, they only could be late for so long, and then we counted that as an absence as well. So really intentional about what the expectations were. We also were intentional about communicating to our parents. So this year we had a couple parent meetings. I'm very proud to say we sent newsletters out to parents every single week to let them know what the expectations were. And we placed those newsletters on the website so families would know what was going on. In addition to that, Another layer, we sent letters out to staff every single week. We wanted to be very intentional, but everyone knew what was going on in the building, and that was middle school and high school level. So we thought at middle school level, we were going to start off with 99 students. We ended up with 65. High school, 108, and the end of summer, we had 71 students. And then Mr. Catanzarite's going to come up and talk a little bit about our virtual learners. These are our students who have been doing virtual throughout the year. He was there to talk, to be someone to support. They logged on and seen him on a regular basis. So he'll give you some details, and then you'll hear back from me for the end.
Is it the other slide on there too?
Yeah.
There was that one. Oh, this is a little bit different. Okay. It's not the updated one. but-
Oh, here, do you want the, I got it in front of you.
Yeah,
Do you
yeah,
want-
if you want to hand that out
So
to
what
them.
you all have in front of you in your board packet, there has been some updates. So if you notice in your board packet, it says that the students had until a certain date to complete summer school. Well, they completed it, and Mr. Catanzarite has updated that. Ms. Malcolm, you want to pass up? Yes, please.
Hi, I'm Dominic Catanzarite. I work at RVLC. I'm one of the lead teachers there. I've been working here in that district since 2011. Been working at RVLC since 2017. This summer, we had a very, very productive summer. This was the first summer in which we absorbed, we had 13 middle school students who were working virtually from the middle school. We absorbed them into our program for the summer. And with these students, we took our model that we had in place and we added a few extra things into it to accommodate the needs of these particular students. All of them were required to have a once a week meet with me through Google Meet. Then they all had to individually meet with me either through Google Meet or a quick phone call on top of that every week. Okay, so they were meeting with me multiple times each week for the 5 weeks of their summer school. Okay, these were students that were struggling with being in person, which is the reason that they came over to the virtual setting during the school year. And my main goal for them was to get them back into the habit of completing schoolwork. Okay. 69% of them finished both of their courses that they got before the summer started. During our meetings, I created 2 specific courses for each student based on their grade level, and they were booster courses that were designed to review everything that they should have had, whether it was in 6th grade, and 7th grade, or 8th grade, everything that should have prepared them for the next grade level. For the most part, most of the students did a very good job keeping in contact with me every week. All of them did the pre and post test for each course that also hit the same standards that the in-person students were covering for in-person summer school. My 9-12 students were a little bit of a different animal, and that is why there's the additional changes and updates that you just received. So in the past, the 9-12 RVLC students, we work year-round. We don't stop working. There's an off week after the traditional school year ends, and then we pick up working right through the summer. Our deadline for those students was August 23rd, was when we had to finish those courses that they were actively working on in the summer. And we had, again, an excellent summer. We had 77 courses that were completed by the 23rd. I have 40 courses that have pending exams, which will be taken care of within the first 2 weeks of the school year. We had 3 additional graduates that we added to our graduation total for the year. And we had 11 additional students who were able to advance to the next grade level to start the 24-25 school year. Okay. And that first 2 weeks of school, we'll take care of these 40 courses that are pending exams. And these are courses that we weren't able to get their exam done because we had a changeover from Securely to, I forgot the name of it, LineWise. And that's the platform that we use to monitor their off-site testing. Okay.
Thank you. I got 2 of them here. Hold on. All right. So one thing I failed to mention was the high school completion. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, uh-oh. Adam, don't get me. What's your face? Okay, just checking. I'm like, what's your face look like? All right. Don't get me, Adam. So high school completion, we had 63.4% of our high school students completed 1 or more courses. We scaled the classes down for them to be able to finish in 5 weeks. We pushed, we went into the classes, had class meetings, we had the teachers call parents, but we still only were able to get 63% of our high school students to complete 1 or more courses. Last thing I want to get to is our special programs, and this is another point of pride that I would like to talk about. And we have this summer our art program. We had students, high school students, who had an opportunity to work with our art teacher. They did various projects, as well as if they had credits that they need to work on, they worked on Edgenuity and did some credit recovery with her as well. But this is something new that we introduced throughout the summer. We had at the 6th grade level, we had something called the Superhero Summer Series. We brought to you in front of the board a few months back a speaker to say, can we bring this cool program here? And I want you to take note of the young lady that's looking. She's looking like she's in awe. She had an opportunity to see, she came up with a story, came up with her character, and that was her for the first time seeing the cover of the book that she provided information for, that she provided information for the character and the storyline. So she was like, whoa, that's my character right there. So I just thought that was really cool to highlight right there. So the kids had a chance to talk about different character traits as well as writing skills in that 6th grade class. You'll hear more throughout the year about the Superhero Summer Series. We also threw out there for students to see if they were interested in the DJ program. We had 1 student to come on a regular basis, so she learned how to DJ. We had an ice cream social at the end. She DJ'd our ice cream social the last day of summer school. She also learned a little bit about entrepreneurship and what it would take if she became a DJ on her own, what her rates that she might be able to offer. I said, hey, can you think you'd be ready on your own? She said, I can try. So it was really cool to see her actually debut her skills during our ice cream social. Bright Futures, I mentioned a little bit. It's an awesome program, and these are some of our students that participated. They had all kind of programs, sports teams, hip hop, break dancing, gardening, and cooking. It was offered in the summer and then for the upcoming school year as well. And then this year, and my other couple points of pride, we were able to take our students on the field trip at the middle school level. We took them to the Museum of Natural History. And so once again, this picture right here, the students are in awe as they're looking at these bones right here. They had a really good time looking at some old artifacts. They seen some anthropologists who were actually doing some work behind the glass. It was really nice to be able to take them off campus to get a different experience. And we had our ice cream social last day. Finally, I just wanted to highlight the young man in the middle. I just had to take a picture of him on the last day of summer school. He ran up to me. All the teachers had put their grades on MyStar or Parent Connect for the parents to see. However, I knew it might take a couple days for the parents to get it. So I asked the teachers at the middle school level, could you please give them a hand copy so the parents can see their progress or what their final grade is? And he came running to me. He was about to go to Bright Futures. He ran, Miss Marshall, I passed. So that smile right there just summed up the whole summer. We had our ups and downs. However, to see the pride that young man had, I was like, I got to take a picture of that. So summer school, all in all, went well. There's some things we want to work on in the future, but all in all, we had a good time this summer.
Thank you for that wonderful presentation and all the data that you received. Thank you.
Just something for summer school, just for next year. You've heard me harp all summer about having some kind of policy in terms of promotion, placement, and retention. You want to get your numbers up, all you have to do is threaten that, hey, if you didn't, during the school year, you didn't accomplish what you needed to, and you are placed into the grade level, part of placement means that you are going to summer school, and you have to have the right attendance, or otherwise, you'll be staying for the year. I mean, if you really want to stop that, you can stop 80 kids from saying, oh, I don't have to go, they're not going to do anything. Okay. Okay. So it's just something for us to think about. I mean, nobody wants retention, but I also don't want kids that don't have the skill set to go forward. I just think that's a no-brainer on our end. Like, why? If you have to spend an extra year in school to get the skills that you need so that you can be successful for the next 80 years of your life, then you do it, as opposed to letting them move forward, and then 80 years, they're not successful. Just something for us to think about.
Thank you. We're at the consent agenda. You need some water?
I saw her over there. Girl.
Be it resolved that the Board of Education approves the August 26, 2024 consent agenda as presented. Matters listed under the consent agenda are considered routine in nature by the Board of Education and will be acted upon in one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items. If any member of the board or any citizen requests discussion of an item, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will become the first item of business under the report of the superintendent portion of the agenda. A, approval of minutes of the Board of Education, August 12, 2024 regular board meeting. B, approval of the personnel actions as submitted by Human Resources Director Kevin Brock. Sue Evans. Employment, Philip Van Hooks, Principal, Romulus Middle School. Lisa Wazowski, Mathematics COSA. Melissa Berinsky, 4th and 5th grade teacher, Romulus Elementary School. Ariana Fisher, French teacher, Romulus Middle School. Michelle Kirkwood, Literacy COSA. Kyra Joyner, ELA teacher, Romulus High School. Leah Phillips, ELA teacher, Romulus High School. Blair Banks, school psychologist. And Damone Washington, resource teacher at Romulus High School.
Support.
It's been motioned by Laster, supported by Wester. Any discussion?
I have a discussion. So it comes down to middle school principal. As I'm looking at these positions, how many students do we have at the middle school?
Are we supposed to remove that and then discuss it up under?
Oh,
Are you
okay.
making an amendment to remove that?
No, it can be, well, if we vote yes, then all the employees are hired, correct?
Correct.
So then I would like to remove this one from that list.
Is it due to just,
It's questions I have. I would just like to ask some questions about numbers and things like that, so.
So the amended motion, so you're making an amended motion to,
To address middle school principal position, to remove that for further discussion.
is there support?
Support.
it's been motioned by Evitt, supported by McCarthy.
Evans,
Yes.
McCarthy,
Yes.
Laster,
Yes.
Wester is no. It fails for the amendment.
Okay. All righty. So we will go with,
So do we go into discussion or no?
I thought
got-
that was what the amendment was for, to go into discussion. So we
I
don't-
thought too.
So now we just vote?
So we vote?
Yeah.
well,
Roll call vote, baby.
Roll call vote to accept the consent agenda
As presented.
as presented. Laster,
Yes.
McCarthy,
Yes.
Evans,
No.
Lester, yes.
So now do we go into, discussion?
I would say yes.
I'll say yes, the consent agenda failed, so I would say yes.
So do we have a number of students at the middle school?
Approximately 500.
How many are with the,
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, right.
I'm just saying I don't know.
how many are in the STEAM Academy?
Oh, geez, I wouldn't even have that number. I'm sure.
Well, I
she-
guess my
right,
question
I'm sure
is,
Dr. Gardner
we're
can
going to
get it.
have 2 principals at a middle school with around 500 students. Is that customary?
Usually when you have 500 or more, you have an assistant or, I mean, you could have 2, usually over 500. But like in elementary school, some elementaries have 450, they have 1. It might have a dean or something else, some kind of help. So,
Right,
yeah.
so, and I had asked at the last meeting if there was going to be an assistant
You did.
principal. And what did we determine what we're going to have yet?
There was a discussion and that it would be dean, there would be no assistant principal. We're not having that. It would be a dean, but you have to go to the board because we haven't had a dean in that position before. So we'd
created
have to come to
position.
you to create that position. We
Okay.
have a dean, there's a dean of academics or something like that, but that's not the discipline.
Okay. Excuse me,
That's-
one meeting, please. Okay, so as I'm just looking, and we have an existing principal there for the STEAM Academy. Do we know how many are in the STEAM Academy this year?
According to Mr. Niedermeyer, he told me the other day, this is off the record, but he said 150.
150? So the other principal will have approximately 350. Oh. Okay. Well, we have to, I mean, realistically, we should know roughly what our enrollment is because school starts in a week. So we should know roughly what our enrollment is so that teachers are getting placed everywhere. I see a 4-5 split. How many splits do we have in the elementaries?
So if I can just
If you're
interject.
creating positions and you know you're filling and you're getting your rosters ready, you should know what you have. If you've got your employment list ready, you should know what they're teaching, correct or incorrect? It has everything to do with this motion because I'm trying to figure out what we're looking at for teachers, specifically in the elementary schools. In the middle school, okay, we've got 500 kids. I didn't think we had that many, to be honest with you. Okay, so that takes care of that one, but we're hiring splits. And realistically, we don't have aides or paras or whatever you want to call it at the elementary levels. Tutoring is going to go only to students with attendance issues.
So if I can just interject, I just would like to say, so with the agenda as it was presented, this was available to board members on Thursday. So I do feel like if questions like that, and no disrespect, like about how many students and different things like this, that could have been sent out so we can have that information so it would make it easier to say yes or no and not have the sidebar or the extra bringing up, tutoring to the kids that have attendance problems and then it can just flow.
Right.
Because I just feel like this is just bringing up issues that may be personal or,
Oh,
you know
it's
what I'm
not
saying?
personal,
Not
not at
personal,
all.
but like issues that you may have with how something is going. But I do feel like for the future, like if something like this is on here,
That's fine.
then we get you the information so you can just say, hey, I had the information to make a informed decision or I didn't have the information because now we're here at the table and
Okay. Again, conversation that the public needs to also be part of in hearing, too.
No, I agree, and I had to go back and actually watch the meeting because I forgot what Brock had said about the candidate was coming. We were on the last step of he had to go through his referrals, and this
Well,
will be
they've
brought
already
forth.
announced his hiring, so this is just a moot point, really. But, okay, I'm fine, we can take a vote.
Let me speak on that just real fast, that when you run a school district, and this is not to you, this is in general, you run a school district, you can't always wait 2 weeks later to fill a position. You can't do it because you start school, no principal. And I'm not saying that to you. I'm just saying, I get it. I totally get it. I get where you're coming from, but I need you to get where we come from and where we've got to fill these positions.
Right.
We've got to fill them. We cannot wait for the board on the next board meeting is in 2 weeks.
Well-
And that's, who knows? And I'm not saying, I'm
Right,
just
right.
saying. And I go to your point that, hey, you have questions, we'll give them to you. There's no excuse. I mean, I don't have any excuse
there's-
except this week is like, this is the beginning of school for me. This week, last week preparing, and this week, and we have to have positions that are filled. We don't have them. We don't have a French teacher. We don't, to your point about splits, I'll say this. The district follows the contract, okay? When there's a contract and it says that you staff at this, it doesn't mean that you have to staff at that level. But when you don't, and then you walk in and you do see, and even STEAM, you can say it. You walk in, you're like, man, this class is 17. Like, really? So you run into those things. When I looked at our splits, I can tell you, I looked at our data on our splits. And nobody really, I don't know too many people that are excited about teaching a split. I don't know too many. But when I saw the data on our splits, I got excited. Like, oh, well, something positive is happening with the splits. Nobody wants them. I don't want classes of 30 and 32. But when I see 22 or 21 and you're able to collapse or create a split, that's what you have to do. In this business, that's what you have to do. It's not always great. It doesn't feel good to some parents, but it also, how you manage that split. People have the opportunity to maybe put, I'm gonna be quiet when I say this, but you could have your high flyers and your high flyers in the same class. Right. There's different things that you can do. But what I don't want is, and I thank you, Sue, and I thank you, President Laster. I'm sorry, Trustee Ebbets, I don't want to call you Sue. I trust you for that. I mean, I appreciate that you say it that way, but I need you to see from our end that. And then also on the flip side, when we do this, and you have people, I've said this before, you have people in the audience with their family, and then this happens, and then this motion failed. What do? They go home? And then they're like, oh, I'm not coming back there. So I just want us to be mindful when we do these things, just ask us ahead of time, and I'm certain that we can get those things for you.
And also, and this has been a discussion that with the president and myself, there is on the Google Sheet a request for an organizational chart that's
Yes.
months old. And so we haven't been provided with an organizational chart.
Well,
So where do things fit in? And that's another discussion.
No,
We
but I
can
want
move
to
forward with
have
this.
that because it just came to my attention that it was asked for. We've had an organizational chart. We had it, okay? Maybe it needs to be amended, certainly, okay? But we had it. We've had one. So if you want to do it again, that's fine. So over this weekend, I can tell you what I was doing. I wrote up an organizational chart. I don't know how you want an organizational chart to look, but I know what I want it to look like. Okay, and it's not this hierarchy of, oh, it's the superintendent and everybody flows. It's about who reports to you, who reports to me, who reports to you, who reports. I have that. And I sent it to Mr. Brock for us to collaborate, and it was the weekend. I said, I'm not going to ask you to do that on the weekend. And then all day today was new teacher orientation. But I do have that. And I was like, well, we've had one before. I can certainly go back and change it, but I want you to know who reports directly to me, to Dr. Gardner, to Mr. Perkins. So I had that. And I'll say, the only thing with the Google Sheet for me is that, and normally Eve will let me know that, hey, or she'll let us know that there's some additions, but I think some things are now going to the president, and the president is looking at them, and then maybe, I don't know if you put them on a Google Sheet or not, but a lot of things are coming to you, and then you're kind of filtering them to us. I like it better when you ask me the question. I mean, and I know some people
I can
going
just-
to the president.
Some of my stuff too is like the table. What's asked at the table is
Yes,
what I'm
yes,
going
and-
forth with.
yes.
And I just want to say, Sue, I did reach out
Yes,
to
you
the
did.
parties
You
about
did.
the entire district organizational chart.
You did.
So I did.
Yeah, she let me know, so I was like, okay, let me get that done. I will certainly get that done. But, you know, that Google Sheet is very important, and to your point that, hey, there's things that are in there. I can't always monitor. I depend on Eve to help me with that, and the president now is helping me with it. But I like it better when you put it in there, because now we have, I'll say it frankly, we have some people that don't want to put anything in the Google Doc, and they just want to send it to President Laster. I'm like, no, put it in the Google Doc. The way you want me to be accountable is the same way I want you to be accountable. You put it in there, we'll get it.
But I do make sure.
You do.
That it
Look,
is
you definitely do.
per this board member is the question. So it's Laster is inquiring, but this is, you know, but we can move on.
No, I mean, if I can add respectfully too, and this isn't to anyone in particular, but we have had on multiple occasions what is a need and what is a want. Some of these wants, I mean, we're getting inundated with all these wants. I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this, and it gets really difficult. And I've said that, I've been very consistent, saying that gets really difficult when you get 18, 25 questions about something that you want because you don't like it. You don't like what I'm doing. And it's not necessarily you, so I don't want you to, I'm not throwing a brick at you. I'm just saying, you don't like what I'm doing, so, oh, let me ask this, and I respond, and you give me 18 more questions. Can we get to the point where what is needed and what is wanted? Needed, I can get it to you immediately. Wanted, I mean, come on, give me some time, or we can talk about it here, gladly. But to your point, thank you. Seriously, thank you for saying that, and thank you. I was excited about the French teacher at the middle school, but, so please, no.
No, there's a lot of very good, it's nice to see filling the positions. We're still short, yeah, we're still short with
Arc has a
special
team now,
services,
hold on
but
now. Why you
that will come up in a minute. Okay.
McCarthy?
Yes.
I'm sorry. We had we went back to the original motion.
Motion by Laster, support by Wester.
We going back to the original. Rescind the motion that was the previous motion. Rescinding the previous motion. Okay.
Support.
Motion by Laster, supported by McCarthy.
To rescind the motion, so. McCarthy?
Yes.
Evans?
Yes.
Laster?
Yes.
Wester, yes. Now, you have the motion for the vote.
New motion to accept,
Approve the consent agenda.
approve the consent agenda.
Right.
Support.
Support. Motion by Laster, supported by Wester, again. McCarthy?
Yes.
Evans?
Yes.
Laster?
Yes.
Wester, yes. Consent agenda is approved.
Thank you and welcome aboard to all of the new wonderful faces that will be joining the district.
Thank you.
Are any of them here?
Yes.
Yes, Madam President, thank you, Board of Education. Just wanted to take a minute to introduce our new middle school principal, Mr. Philip Van Hooks.
Thank you for having me. Glad to be here, part of Romulus Community Schools. It is an honor and a privilege to come and work with the service learning students when we consider that the whole concept of service learning is to see the needs of the community, to develop an action to solve and meet those needs of the community, and do that with our students, to build from the ground up. And that's what I'm here to do. Thank you so much.
Very good.
You better have some more for tomorrow.
Please don't steal his thunder, okay? Just, you know. All right, we are moving to main character, the report of the superintendent, Dr. Benjamin Edmondson.
Thank you, and this will be brief because tomorrow we have our program. Thank you, President Laster, for being a part of that program tomorrow. I would encourage any board member, and I said in my email, board member community, we're all the same. You know, you're more than welcome to come. I think there would be good energy. We prepared for that. I can say that my team is very excited about this year already. I'm nervous to say that, you know, the numbers that I saw, I'm excited, but I'm going to just be quiet about that because it's still early. But we I mean, we've registered 170 students over the summer, and we have 85 that are still in the portal right now. They have some information that's out there. In terms of losses, that's where you get nervous to say that, but minimal. They were minimal. So I was very excited about that. I think it's a tough climate anyway to move and try to find housing. I think that plays a factor with a lot of things. But I'm just really excited about where we're going. I met with a young man today. Well, no, I won't say that. I'm just excited. We'll just say that, and I'll leave it at that. It was a tough summer for me, but the summer is over, and now I can focus back on work and working with the team. I'm excited about continuing our work and where we're going to go. So thank you so much. If there's anything that you need to ask me now, I'll be glad to. If you, Trustee Ebbets, if you have something or anyone.
Thank you so much. Moving right along. We have the report of the Director of Human Resources, Mr. Kevin Brock, with the staffing update.
Good evening once again, Madam President, Board of Education. I too am cautiously optimistic about our enrollment numbers. I don't want to put it out there yet, but if the numbers come to fruition, it's a good thing, and it will be a good thing for our district. I know that the board has been asking for this, and I appreciate the patience that you all have had while we have gone through our hiring season. It's not completely over yet for us. We are still hiring a few more folks, still have some postings out there, but I did want to give you a brief update on the number of resignations, the number of new hires, and as I do this, I want to reminisce a little bit this morning, and throughout the day, we had 25 brand new teachers, and I say brand new to the district, who attended our new teacher orientation today. What does that look like for them? Just kind of a brief overview. Our orientation consists of, today for the first time, we trained 25 new teachers in CPR, first aid, AED. It's been a minute since we've had any kind of training like that in our district. Our goal throughout the next couple of years is to have the entire staff trained, but it's a little costly to do that all up front, so we're going to try to get a cycle going where every couple of years we have a group at every school that is trained in CPR. So they had a 2-hour training this morning. They had some training on being a tenured teacher. What does that look like? Contacting CPS. A little bit about their own contract. What does that look like? Some union stewardship. I bring in a financial planner every year to have a conversation with. It's amazing to me how many staff who are veteran staff but new to the district who haven't touched their investments in many, many years. And I tell the folks, I don't care if you invest with this person. We have a number of people that we work with in the district that they can use or choose, but I bring him in and he just gives them a brief overview of their own retirement system and what that looks like. It's pretty amazing, and I think it's eye-opening for them. And the highlight of the day is the bus tour. We do a bus tour of the district. The new teachers get on the bus. And I say 25 because we included staff that missed our new teacher orientation last year that we may have hired after September. So the numbers this year, we had a total of 26 staff member leave the district. 5 of those staff member retired. So 21 resigned for a total of 26. And I broke it down because I've been asked by a few board members to give a breakdown versus elementary, secondary, and then somewhat by program. So the numbers are, we have 8 elementary staff, we have 8 secondary staff, and we had 10 special ed staff leave the district this year for a total of 26. 5 of those 26, I said, were retirees. We have new hired thus far, 16 new hires since June. And why isn't it equal? We have absorbed some of those positions internally based on retirements, based on our student numbers. Should we have the need to go out and hire more staff, we will do so, but we were trying to be cautiously optimistic about our new hires and the programming that we want to offer. As you saw tonight, we hired a French teacher. It's been a really interesting hiring season, and I'll try to keep this short and brief. This is the first time in the many long years that I've been doing this job where we have, and you have seen this on your board agenda, we have had staff that we've offered positions to, they've accepted, they've come to the board, and then we've had to remove them at the last minute because they've rescinded their job offer. I don't have the data. I don't know why why we're having that this year, but I've had that more this year than ever in my whole career of hiring staff. I like to attribute it to, you know, as educators, when I came out of school 30 years ago, the first district that offered you a job, you took it. Because there weren't any jobs. You couldn't get a job. And so now, with the way the economy is, I think many of our staff who we want to hire are kind of playing the field and trying to see what's out there and I can't be upset with them. I don't, you know, if somebody rescinds their offer, I get it. We're moving on and we're going to. So we had a Spanish teacher for the middle school. They rescinded. Had a French teacher for the middle school. They rescinded. We have a new French teacher. They're staying with us and we're hoping that they stick around because that's a program that's so desperately needed at our middle school. So it's been an interesting hiring season, to say the least. I'm excited about the staff that we've hired. I'm excited about our new middle school principal. I'm excited about the year that we're looking forward to have. I'm looking forward to tomorrow's opening and the energy that brings and some of the rejuvenation. You know, just seeing some of the staff members today it was fun. So we had some of the staff members, like I said, that were here with us last year. We invited them to come this morning throughout the day. It's a long day. It's an emotional day for our new hires. And I say emotional because they get a lot of information. And I typically will survey them at the end just to kind of find out. Last year, the highlight was the bus trip. I told them that. I don't know how it was this year. Last year, the bus trip was provided by somebody who grew up here, lived here, works here. They're no longer with us, so they couldn't do the bus trip this year. So I'm anxious to see how that looks or goes or went today. So I'll take questions for the update that I've provided.
I have a question, Madam President. So we're still short 10 since June, right?
So let me clarify. Let me. It doesn't add up, and it's okay. So we're not short 10. I don't want that to get out. We're not short 10.
The numbers are different, that's all.
Correct. Yep.
So is it, I see that we are short in special ed.
Correct.
What is there an issue? How are we going to recruit such a shortage in special ed? Is it us teachers? Is it special ed paras? Is it resource teachers?
Yeah, so thank you for that, because I did fail to mention when I gave you the numbers, these are not all teachers. Most of them are teachers. There is one teacher on here that is a non-certified staff member. Sorry, two on here that are non-certified staff. The rest are certified staff. To answer your question, I'm working closely with Dr. Meese to do exit interviews with everybody that has left the district. I typically don't exit interview everybody. You know, if there's something in the grapevine that you hear, I'll call them. I'll do an exit interview. Again, for me, typically I'm able to get the truth from people. Thus far in my exit interviews, it's been financially motivated for the majority of the candidates that I've spoken to. But yeah, I mean, when you have that many in a department, there's some digging that needs to be done, and I'm working closely with Dr. Meese and his crew to figure out, you know, how do we move forward and what does that look like? And if there is an underlying concern, you know, how do we address that concern?
Okay. Thank you. And we don't have Spanish at the middle school. We got the French, but we don't have the
French.
Spanish.
It was French or
Never
Spanish.
did. We didn't
tried
have it. We
Spanish.
didn't
We
have
tried
it.
Spanish.
They rescinded their offer.
Yeah, we
but
tried
they have-
Spanish. Really wanted Spanish. But at this point, I think for all of us, we had Spanish. Like I said, they rescinded. We had taken the posting down, so we reposted for French and or Spanish to get a foreign language for our kids. Our kids need a foreign language so desperately.
One is better than none.
Yeah, absolutely. So our hope is that we've hired the right person to grow that program so that our kids can get that credit going into the high school, and they have an advantage when they get to high school to explore other options.
One of the things I was thinking about with French is, or whether it was French or Spanish, is that we haven't had a program. So we've got to get books for that class. I mean, we have no choice.
Right.
Otherwise, we will lose a teacher. If a teacher comes here and feels like,
Right.
y'all left me. So we have to really get on that to make certain that we meet with that person and say, hey, listen, we need to help you out, and whatever it is, but we need to do that. Secondly, I was thinking that when you were saying this is the first time where people took other jobs, I think part of that's generational, okay? My generation, you take the first thing that's in front of you. Younger generation, I don't have to take your stuff. I mean, that's kind of how it's like. I don't have to take what you're doing.
Now of
That too.
teaching staff that it's competitive.
But I think younger people are a little bit more, they're okay making that jump, where someone like me is like, if you say yes and I don't say,
So I have an opinion, and I'm happy to share my opinion. Not that it means a whole lot, and there's no data to back it up. But in the business that
why it's
the
an
business that I'm in, I look at trends and I look at what folks are doing, and I think for me, it's part of what you're saying, Dr. Edmondson. But I think the bigger part forever, educators have been kind of humble servants. Like, hey, thank you for the job offer. I'll take it. I think they're becoming more astute, that they are valued, that there is some value. And I base this solely based on my own son, who just got his bachelor's degree in social work. He doesn't have his master's degree, and he was hired by a school district. And he held out for 3 weeks. He's like, I'm not taking your first offer. And he doesn't even have a degree. I mean, he doesn't have his master's degree yet. So I think they're becoming more aware that they have value. Not that we didn't have value before, because I don't want certainly that to get out that we are not valued. But I think financially, the younger generation, or the teachers that are coming out now, or the staff that are certified now, are sitting back saying, you know what? I don't have to take that first offer. I can wait and see. I kind of get to pick, which is new. I think it's a total mindset shift as educators. I mean, we're just humble servants. Thank you for the offer. Appreciate it. Well, I'll take whatever. And not that that's a bad thing. And I think now they're becoming more astute, and they're just more aware. That's just my opinion.
Right.
Other questions?
So I know when you lose a teammate, it hurts the team. So to hear 10, is it, I don't know, like, is there, with the special ed department, is it like a lack there, or is it like scrambling to like cover for other people's position, or like what does that look like? Because that's a department we can't lose funding for. We can't miss the paperwork that needs to be completed because,
Yeah, come on up. I'm going to ask Dr. Meese to join me at the podium. I would say it's all of the above, and I'll let Dr. Meese answer it. But from my perspective, yes, it's going to be all hands on deck. It might be the use of 2 of the companies that you have all approved so that we're compliant. I think for us, it's not just about compliance, but that's a major thing for us. Obviously, we want to hire our own people. We want to get our own people in here so that our students they get what they deserve, which is somebody that's certified, that's our person. But again, to get somebody in the door, probably a third-party company that you all have approved to work with. So I'll let Dr. Meese speak to it as well.
Good evening, board. So the question that President Laster raised, I agree with Mr. Brock that it's a little bit of everything. However, I will say that, and it's been mentioned before, certain groups of professionals are very valuable today. So an OT is extremely hard to find. And for that reason, districts are willing to pay. When I'm at RESA and we have conversations about staffing, this is a universal problem. It didn't used to be the case because districts weren't competitive. Once you were in a district for 5-7 years, you really couldn't jump anywhere else because nobody could touch your pay. Yeah. Now, they can enhance your pay. And some districts are also incentivizing if you bring somebody along with you. So what we have is we have some professionals who are leaving for financial reasons. I've been told up to $16,000 difference for one practitioner. And with that, good news travels fast. Hey, I'm going over here and this is what they're doing for me. I will also say last year was a unique year in my career. I don't know that I've ever seen a school year where we've had such students who present with significant challenges. And I will say it took me a little while to realize this, and this is not, I'm not casting blame on anyone. I'm just going to speak of a reality that I discovered. Once upon a time, the district didn't offer programming and services to students who needed the most support. I've had parents call me and say, I tried to get my child in X number of years ago, and I was told we don't work with students like that. That's something that has stopped. We accept all students because they have federal protection behind them. That doesn't necessarily mean that they get educated within our schools. We may have to find a center-based program to suit their needs, but now if they've been sitting at home without an education, we have to evaluate them. So the law tells us that we have to do that in Gen Ed because they don't have an IEP at this time. So when you have unique cases like this, you have one student who can really, I don't want to say upset a learning community, but I'm going to just say what it is. It can throw everything off. And with this, because it's relatively new, because that's not the way things used to be done, it can create animosity. So then you've got some teachers annoyed with, some gen ed teachers upset with the special ed teacher, that kid doesn't belong in my class, that's your responsibility, no, they don't have an IEP. So we had several meetings about that last year to try to create an awareness that in certain cases, we need all hands on deck. But when you have, there's 1 or 2 students at the middle school who are notorious, and I will say for all the wrong reasons. Everybody knows the student because of their behavior. Well, the student has a federal right to be educated. Is this the proper learning environment? Our data says we have concerns. We think a self-contained, emotionally impaired program would suit his needs best. However, the school that we want to send him to wants more data. So I'm in communication with RISA saying, let's expedite this because we're doing this, and this. So another thing with social workers, that was something new to our district. We had situations where principals, through no fault of their own, in some cases didn't know what to do with, especially the gen ed social worker. So gen ed social workers were bouncing around from room to room, providing triage services for students, and this isn't a blame on the part of gen ed teachers. But if they've never worked with a student who has a certain behavioral challenge, they need help. But the role of the gen ed social worker is not to bounce around the whole school and try to be a miracle worker. They can observe, they can take data, they can have meetings, they can, we need to use our practitioners methodically and correctly, but that would burn anybody out. We need you in this room, now you're needed in this room, you're needed in this room, this kid doesn't belong. I mean, those realities, if I were a teacher, a social worker under that level of stress, I could understand why somebody would want to seek another option, especially when there's additional compensation. So I want you to know that this has been a primary focus all summer. I joke with Kevin, I spend more time with Kevin than I do my wife. I'm with him, we are interviewing constantly. We're by each other's side, we're pulling applications, and I want the board to know that within Frontline, there's a feature that allows for me to pull from what's called the applicant pool. So people who are in there through RISA, through RISA, they've applied, but not specifically for Romulus. They're getting phone calls from me. I reviewed your application. I have a couple of opportunities that I'd like to talk with you about. Would you be interested in coming in for a conversation? So I'm actively seeking people who are qualified, bringing them in even though they didn't apply. So this has been a primary focus. Frankly, it's been exhausting, and I think that I'm still fighting the good fight. But at some point when we don't have the applicants, I'm very grateful that you once again authorized the use of agency if we need. What I'm trying to negotiate with the agency is let's not do a one-year contract. I'd rather us do 3-month, 4-month, and then in the meantime continue to try. But we know that it's unlikely to get a traditional applicant between now and December, hoping for a large graduating class after first semester. But there's definitely been a method to what's going on. And Kevin and I, again, are investigating. I had a conversation with somebody yesterday for 20 minutes who was going to leave, decided not to, but was going to. And for her, it was solely financial.
Madam President. So I have a little bit of an issue with the comment that we told students that they couldn't be educated here, and therefore they haven't had an education. That isn't even legal.
Of course it is.
It's not legal, and I'm stunned to even hear that stated, okay? Because just by saying that opens us up to a world of trouble, okay? So now we've got students. What is the plan? If we're short 10 special ed teachers or special ed staff, what is your plan to start school in the next 8 days? How are you going to organize classrooms? How are you going to get these students their services, do their reads, do their IEPs, do everything that needs to be done? What is your plan? And I'm sorry that I'm being this bold and brazen, but
I'm sorry too.
This is a lot of staff that has left this district.
I'm sorry too at the way that is phrased, but I'll do the best that I can to answer it. The way that it's phrased suggests that This has not been a problem for the last 2.5 months. This has been the primary focus. Perhaps pardon me? Staffing right now for the summer. We do not have 10 teachers that we're trying to fill in the special ed department right now. We just approved some. So right now we still have two openings at the high school. We need one social worker at the middle school. Forgive me because I'm doing this from memory. We need 2 speech practitioners. So again, any insinuation that there's been no plan and that this is just it is what it is situation, frankly, it is unfair. This is a primary focus. I just got done explaining how I'm trying to get applicants. So in the event we don't have people, once everything's exhausted, I have interviews tomorrow in between meetings, in between activities with teachers. I'm doing everything I can. Should we be in a position where by Thursday we don't have people, well then fortunately through your efforts in approving us with bilingual and Sunbelt, and we use EduStaff, we will have people there. And if we're in a position where we don't have a classroom teacher, I'm a special ed classroom teacher, I'll be there. We will figure this out. We are going to have the right people in place because our children deserve it. The comment about us saying that we don't take those kinds of students. The way that I phrased that was I was told from parents, and I'm seeing students that are in school, and the teachers are saying, we haven't seen kids like this before. Well, now it's all starting to make sense. So if there's a student who has told us that they attempted and they weren't given an opportunity, right now we don't have families saying that this is exactly what happened, but they're saying, yeah, we were looking for a school, and when we asked about Romulus, they said they have to be potty trained, so then we went over here. They got their education, but darn it should have been with us. And I'm not finding fault with anybody that sits on this board. You don't make the decisions that come out of that office, and I'm not finding fault with any of the teachers in the district. There was a lot of turnover in this department. I'm not sure that there's a full awareness of the amount of dysfunction that I walked into. And I'm thrilled with where we are and where we're going.
Well, the only way we can get better is to bring it out and bring it to the surface. So I appreciate you taking accountability, sharing what's going on there. But we know when a student, we don't do their IEP, someone's coming after us. So you taking a contingency plan and say you'll get in the classroom if this goes astray.
Will.
I appreciate that's what it takes. Get in the trenches to stand up and say that in front of us. So I know that's difficult. I don't know what's going on. I appreciate the hard work that you do. I would like to see more of you. So thank you for being, present and coming to present. And if there's anything we can do, because our students need, I work with the special ed department very closely in my position, and I know how it's hard on one person to kind of carry that weight, the legalities behind it and all of that. So we just want to make sure that you're supported because we can't drop the ball in that area. No area, but definitely with special ed services. So,
Absolutely right.
thank you.
Thank you.
Any other?
Yeah, for me.
Oh, I do have a question. I'm sorry.
No, not too.
For you.
Uh,
Oh, I'm sorry. He's on the agenda.
Talk about the hiring.
Okay, thank you.
All I was going to say is, as a leader, you have to assess what the problem is, period. You have to diagnose that there is a problem. When I see numbers like that, immediately I think, okay, what's going on? And I've had that conversation. We've had that. I think we're pretty clear on that there's got to be something. Let's find out what it is. Maybe it is that, what he said. Maybe it isn't. Maybe it's something internal. Maybe it's a person. Maybe it's me. I've had all these conversations, and I said, I'm willing to find out what it is. And if it's me, then, hey, it's me. Okay, and then we need to address that. We need to address it. But as a leader, I think that's what, and maybe that's what you were getting at. I don't question Pat in terms of him working and trying to fill these positions. I see the guy working all summer doing it. I do see that as in terms of leadership. I see that. But I think another question as a leader is, well, what's going on? That's another question that you want answered. And as a leader, I'm certain that he wants to know, what is it? Okay, is it a compilation of things, or is it one thing, or is it one person? Because if it's a person, and I'll be frank with the board, and he can verify this, and I said, you find out that it's a person, then we're going to address that person. We have no choice when you see something like that. It it's a person that you have to address it. And same with Mr. Brock. We've had these conversations about having exit interviews to find out. Okay, do people feel comfortable telling the truth? And sometimes they don't. People just don't feel comfortable telling you the truth and say, bye. Period. You figure it out. But I can assure you that we're having that conversation because nobody's happy with that. Whether it's Pat, it's me, Kevin Brock, the three of us look at that and say, ooh, that's a high number, just like you do. So we're going to address it. And I can tell you we'll address it internally. That's not something I would readily have a conversation with you about. You come into my office, sure, but not out here. I'm not going to address that, but I will say that we are addressing that.
No, but I thank you for these updates. It's exactly what I've been asking.
Yeah, and I appreciate your patience as a board and as a person. I just wanted to get through the majority of the hiring season, so I give you accurate data and accurate information. I mean, we're still hiring folks, so that might change as well, but still trying to put people. The middle school is full. The inn is full. We've got everybody hired. The elementary, as far as teachers. Well, but I'm not counting that one because it hasn't come before the board yet.
Position, yeah.
Yeah, it's not been here before, so I think the elementaries were all set. In terms of certified classroom teachers.
Is that a recommendation of Mr. Van Hooks?
Yeah, so when I came before you the last time, I said to the board, I wanted the decision to come from a conversation between Mr. Van Hooks and Mr. Niedermeyer because they're sharing a building.
Right.
My understanding is that they have met, they have discussed on more than one occasion. Their hope is the board would approve a dean of discipline. I don't want to call it a dean of discipline, but technically they would be a dean of students, that they would do discipline up to maybe 3 days. Don't quote me on that, but somewhere around that so that we'll get you the job description and we'll talk about it. I'll present it and then you guys can, next board meeting, maybe approve it. Or maybe we could do it all in one so I could get it posted. We can get that person. And ultimately, I'll be real frank with you, and I know that we've had this conversation, Dr. Edmondson and I have had this conversation. I would love for it to be somebody that's here with us currently that has aspirations to be an assistant principal, a principal, a leader of some sort. We are now beyond triage as a leadership team, in my mind. We now need to start planning for succession. We need to have a plan in place. We're not going to be around forever. I plan to be around forever, but I mean, I know. But no, I think a great organization always has, I don't want to be the one left holding the keys to the kingdom, and I don't think Dr. Edmondson, I won't speak for him, he can speak for himself. We lead very much the same or similar. I don't want to walk out and somebody go, oh my God, like, what do we do? Like, what happened? You guys, the district always picks up and moves on, but then you have Humpty Dumpty again, and you're in triage, and I don't want that for an organization. So I think now in our cabinet, we're in the direction to start generating some succession plans and identifying staff members who are currently in the district who have aspirations to be in leadership positions. That's why I'm hopeful that we have somebody in the district that's willing to step into that role. So
I have one last question for you.
Yes.
Our of concern, our athletic department. We now don't have basketball coaches for boys or girls, and no, that's what was said, and that was what was said. Right. That was okay. Okay. And we don't have an athletic director. So what is when are we going to light that fire and get that? The athletic director position has been gone for, God, a couple years?
Since we came.
No, it's been a couple years.
No. You had one in place when we both got here.
Oh, okay, you're right. I'm sorry.
We don't want to go back down that.
That was
Short-lived.
So, regardless.
Yeah. So the fire's been lit. I've been reviewing applicants all summer. Again, that's a position that, in conversation with the executive cabinet, I want to make sure that whomever we select as a district is going to grow the community from the ground up. We have lots of applicants that are like, hey, I'm a middle school athletic director, and I know middle school athletic directorship, and I can do high school and middle school. I really want somebody that's holistic. I want somebody that's going to be involved in our Pop Warner program, our youth football program, our youth basketball program, our cheerleading program, our volleyball program. The district needs somebody who's going to look at the program from ages 4 or 5 all the way up through high school, because that's the only way our program's really going to grow. So,
Through college.
so that's not easy. That's not an easy, like when you look at these resumes, it's hard to see that on paper, but it's there. I can see it. There just aren't many, and I want to try to get as many as quality candidates as I can to bring forth. So,
And have we lost any students due to the loss of basketball coaches? That is, that we
not that
might
I'm
think-
aware of. I mean, I don't want to say yes or no. I have not been made aware of that particular situation. So I don't know that answer. I have not been made aware of it.
Okay.
To my knowledge, no.
Coach
But
Paris leaves me on the board, I'm out. Oh, no. No, but to answer your question about basketball, I've had some conversations with the previous basketball coaches about direction, where they felt that what they'd like to see. Ultimately, we make the decision here. We want to have an open, honest process. But when you have people that are waiting in the wings too, and they deserve their shot, you want to give them the shot. So I've had a conversation with one person, and I might have another one with someone else. But I'm hoping that our basketball program is still in good shape. But again, you want to find out people, particularly who have a winning tradition, what do they think, and who do they want? And you try to work in that direction so that you have continuity in your program. And he already discussed the athletic director, but that's something that we need now. And I think that we're at a place where we're ready, and we don't have too many things that are disjointed anymore. So,
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I feel like you're cheating on my paper. Like, it's just you. I mean, yeah. Oh, okay, all right. We are now at Dr. Meese. Report of the Director of Special Services. Welcome.
Good evening once again, Board. I want to share some high-level overview of my vision of the Special Education Department for this school year. I have 6 principles that I want to focus heavily on in all of my interactions with principals, with teachers, both gen ed and special ed. The first one is a radical approach to relationships. So I think that relationships are essential in working with students, especially in working with students today, many of whom have complex life history and they have many societal problems. It's not, I mean, it's great to stand at the door and greet each student by name. That should be the bare minimum. We should be finding interesting things about the students, asking them questions, knowing grandma's name, knowing the dog's name, knowing if a relative's getting released from prison. These are the things that are important to students. Some, not all. You know, our students come from varied backgrounds. But a radical approach is what's needed, not simply being kind to kids, because our students need more of us. The other focus, a continued effort to maintain compliance as it relates to the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, the Michigan Administrative Rules for Special Ed, special education discipline, free appropriate public education, least restrictive environment, and civil rights. Another emphasis this year is a relaunch of the district-wide positive behavior intervention and support initiative. So you might recall we had a person last year performing this role. She left mid-year, became engaged and moved across the state. And I will say that our implementation of PBIS was probably, I guess I could say, sporadic. Some buildings did extremely well with it, and other buildings, I would say, and they would say that there's room for improvement. And so I'm excited that we have a new PBIS coordinator who will also be working on social emotional learning, because frankly, I think that our teachers need this information. I know that sometimes a teacher may want to be able to reach a student in a certain way, but maybe they don't have the skill set. So working closely with our new PBIS/social emotional coordinator, I think that we can do good things for kids once we help to build the capacity of our staff. Another thing that's been happening, Kim Caesar, the special education supervisor, she and I have worked together and at times with committees to standardize our practices. So We inherited a manual that was done, I want to say in 2016, or maybe it was a little bit newer, but some of the things were outdated. So we spent time going through the manual, updating it, and special education teachers can expect that new and improved manual in the next week or so. This will provide them with guidance in terms of how we handle intricate matters, things that they may not do every day. This manual will provide that guidance to them. I mentioned build capacity, and that's another theme. Building the capacity of our gen ed teachers, helping them understand ways to work with students with exceptionalities. So, this pertains to lesson planning, lesson delivery, modifying lessons to help students be successful. And the last primary focus that I'm thinking about for our vision is a focus on the families. So disability impacts the entire family. And I think the more that we can work with parents to help them understand existing resources, whether those resources are Romulus resources or Wayne County resources or resources that come from the state. I'm so grateful that we have a parent advisory committee member now. Thank you again for appointing her. I believe she's been approved. It took a little while, but approved through Wayne Risa's Board of Education. And I'm thrilled that she will sit on these committee meetings monthly. And I emailed her yesterday, and she's always good about writing back. I haven't heard from her yet, but I know she will. But I want to talk with her about a practice of disseminating the information so she's not the keeper of all the information. Our families need this information for their child and for themselves as well. So that's a high-level overview of the focus. And one of the things that I wanted to mention in terms of the radical approach to relationships, I just want to touch on unified sports. So there's been, as you know, we were approved, I believe, in April for unified sports. We received a grant, and the game, the athletic event that we chose to participate in was bowling because it was something that everybody could participate in. We had a student in a wheelchair. We had some students that had very little experience doing anything athletically, but this is something that they could do. And we went twice. So the students from Barth self-contained program went twice. Students from the middle school self-contained program went twice. Same thing for our high school self-contained program. They went along with some gen ed peers. The purpose behind this is to build community. I know things have been said in the past about branching off and doing things that involve other schools. I absolutely support that idea, but I do feel I share Dr. Edmondson's notion that the launch has to be done correctly. So my vision for Unified this year is that in the fall, we continue with bowling activities. We've developed a great relationship with Romulus Lanes. They've been very accommodating. And in addition to Romulus Lanes, back in the spring, I was familiarizing myself with other unified sports that can be done that would be widely, I guess I'll say, doable, regardless of impairment. And one of the activities that Unified sponsors is bocce ball. So I bought, through this grant money, bocce ball sets for Barth and for the middle school and for the high school for their self-contained programs. These are things that perhaps gym teachers can use as long as we're making sure that we're incorporating students with and without disabilities, because that was the purpose behind the funding source. My goal is in the winter that we do something different. So we bowl and we do bocce ball in the fall, but in the winter, I'm ready to take that leap to see if we can play basketball against perhaps another school, a neighboring community. I met with directors when I was at the MACE conference a couple of weeks ago, and there's some interest. And I have a meeting one day next week with Kathy Burr, who is the representative from Special Olympics assigned to Unified, who works with this region. So I just wanted to provide you with a high-level overview of where we're going this year. Does anybody have any questions for me?
I do. So are you looking at doing these sports just as like field trips for the students, or are you going to be competing against other schools?
Well, at
The
this.
bocce ball, the bowling,
Yeah,
those kinds of things?
that would be, those would be field trip activities, and I don't think that those are inferior in any way, because those opportunities give students a chance to build relationships with the people that they will encounter in the lunchroom the next day.
I agree.
Again, our students are not, from what I can tell thus far, our students aren't looking for athletic opportunities as much as they're looking for opportunities to do
Social
something different,
opportunities.
and the big part is social. So who better to socialize with than your gen ed peers who are interested in spending time with them? So that's another thing that I want to work with the principals on, is last year they were able to select students that would be participants, gen ed students who would be participants. I want to take another look at that and say, do we use the same students all year for these activities? Do we give other students a chance? What's the best way for us to cultivate that interest so that our students do get to have an opportunity for increased socialization?
There was a unified sports conference about 6 weeks ago. Did anyone from Romulus attend?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
They were also at the MACE conference, and I visited their table and had conversations with them about the program overall.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
The-
Anything else?
Yeah, the parent that is getting the information,
Yes.
is there like a standard, will she send something to you, or maybe like a board update or
Yeah,
something that we can?
that's what I'm waiting on Ms. Bland to contact me for a time to talk. But that's exactly my motivation, because I don't want her to be the keeper of the knowledge and nobody else has that benefit. I'm also interested, and I don't know if this is televised live or if it'll be recorded, but if there's another parent in the community who has a child with an IEP who would also be willing to serve as a parent advisory committee member, I do think it's best if we have 2 people there. We're allowed to have 2 per state guidelines. So I think that there's a benefit in having 2 people, especially should one of them be unable to attend for some reason.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, board.
All right, moving on, we are at the report of the Director of Teaching, Learning, and Professional Development, Dr. Gardner. Sorry, Dr. Gardner.
Good evening again. I'm before you regarding the varsity tutors motion that was sent to the board.
Madam President, move that the Board of Education approves varsity tutors. Rationale, Romulus Community Schools will partner with varsity tutors to provide virtual tutoring for all K-12 students. The 2 options below will be available for students to help improve academic achievement in math, literacy, science, and social studies. There's 24/7 on-demand live chatting in English and Spanish, and high-dosage tutoring to customize support that is designed to provide targeted assistance, helping students overcome challenges and empowering them. Budget implications are ESSER funds, $28,800, and the exhibits are attached. Is there support?
Support.
Motion by Wester, supported by Evans. Any discussion?
If I can share, I know at the last board meeting, Jared is back again. Thank you for Jared for being here from Varsity Tutors. And the video he had did not play, so Adam did work it out so the video can play for you all. Is this a good time to show the video for you?
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
The funding was a
Varsity Tutors is partnering with school districts
Yeah,
to
they
provide
got it as
full
a
access high-dosage tutoring for all students. As the largest and most scalable live learning platform, we intelligently match each student with highly qualified tutors to personalize the learning experience.
100,000 we've got left.
Our school solution combines student diagnostics, helpful admin tools, and a network of highly qualified tutors to offer one-on-one and small group tutoring that is easy to implement, easy to measure, and proven to accelerate learning. Tutoring starts with an adaptive assessment that measures subject mastery based on learning standards. After a student answers a series of questions, we generate a detailed report that outlines overall performance, strengths, and areas for improvement, broken down by subject-specific skills. Each student receives a personalized learning plan that pinpoints the exact skills they need to work on and in what order. Tutors use the learning plan to inform tutoring sessions, ensuring personalized support from the start. Tutoring sessions take place in our live learning platform in one-on-one sessions and small groups of up to 5 students, intelligently matched based on diagnostic data. Student diagnostics not only guide their learning experience, they empower administrators to make data-driven decisions. For instance, administrators can monitor how well students are acquiring specific skills across schools, highlighting curriculum success and areas for increased focus. And as students take follow-up assessments, administrators can track their mastery of new skills. Administrators monitor program efficacy and usage with the admin dashboard and detailed program reports. Easily track budget allocations and consumption, see upcoming activities and student metrics, and manage programs with detailed information on tutoring schedules, attendance, and assessments at the student, school, and district level. Varsity Tutors also supports you throughout the program with onboarding tools, a detailed timeline, and a dedicated account manager. By combining personalized high-dosage tutoring, adaptive student diagnostics, and an easy-to-manage platform, Varsity Tutors for Schools helps districts like yours achieve equitable student outcomes at scale. Partner with Varsity Tutors today, and let's accelerate learning together.
Thank you. I did want to Thank you. I did want to clarify a couple things. So Varsity Tutors, if approved, will be an additional tutoring opportunity for our students. So we will still have in-person tutoring. Elementary, they'll have AM and PM scholars, and also at our middle school and high school, we'll have Renaissance tutoring. That tutoring will be paid for by 23G grant funds. This will be an additional tutoring opportunity as a virtual opportunity. So we have 2 platforms. Again, a 24/7 tutoring will be offered to all students in our district. The high dosage tutoring, where they actually have the person on the screen, will be, for right now, our plan is for our bubble students. These are students, again, that are very on the cusp of meeting the next performance band. So that means our students in Ramos will get multiple opportunities to receive tutoring, whether it be virtual or in person. So I just want to clarify that point. Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Gardner.
Welcome.
Quick question. Will our students have to take a diagnostic to get one-on-one virtual training, or will they be able to get, not training, I'm sorry, tutoring? Will they be able to just take a recommendation from their teacher to go straight to the virtual option? And I'm asking because I know my son, my infamous middle child, will just breeze through a diagnostic and not really try. So that's why I asked.
Yes, it would also be teacher recommendation, and it would also be driven by the data.
So, the last time we met, I understood it that this program was for students with attendance issues, because they could do it from home, and they could do it in the morning, all day long at school, or in the evening. Is that a misunderstanding?
Yes.
Okay, so, because I said, well, isn't this about attendance then? And it was, they can do it morning and during the day and in the evening. So those types of kids with those issues would be doing it from home. So how can they do it during the day if they're at home, but they're not? My impression was that it was for attendance issue students.
I appreciate you seeking clarification. I know it was mentioned in the last presentation, there is an option for our schools to use varsity tutors during school. That is not our focus. Our focus is after school. And so one thing that was mentioned about the attendance, let's say students are absent because they are not strong in academics. If they get a tutor, that builds their confidence up, and they want to show up to school more. So they talked about how that can actually help lower our chronic absenteeism. But our focus for our district would be after school tutoring, just another option. I'll give you an example. I shared it of course, pending board approval, during our administrative retreat about the opportunity to partner with varsity tutors. The principal were elated. High school, they're going to have the Renaissance tutoring going on after school, but they can still have varsity tutors working with a group of students along with their current tutors as well. But again, the focus is after school for all students. The 24/7, again, after school, they can at any point in time. So go back to the high school, that's going to end at a certain time. Let's say it's after 5 o'clock. I still don't understand that algebra. I say algebra is my favorite mathematics topic. Let's say I still don't understand it. So I can now turn on varsity tutors at 6 p.m. and still get that support after my in-person tutoring ends.
Okay. So when it was presented before, it wasn't the ESSER funds. It was
Correct.
the other funding that you just stated. So you've switched the funding to this building is that grant, and this is ESSER funds.
Let me clarify that as well, and thank you again for seeking clarification. When I talked about the 23G, that was for the in-person tutoring. I was clarifying from a comment that the schools were paying out of their Title I budgets, which was impacting their overall budget. And I was just sharing how we've actually had an opportunity to shift to 23G to pay for in-person tutoring. For varsity tutors, it'll be paid out of ESSER. So that 23G was just for in-person tutoring, not regarding varsity tutors.
Okay, so then can you explain to me the program for tutoring in person at the elementaries? How that will
Yes.
work, please.
Sure. So we have the AM PM scholars, which we've had over years. So they have an opportunity in the morning for them actually to get support. It could be enrichment as well. Actually, I met with Mark Graham earlier today. In the past, Title IV paid for AM PM scholars, but the state wants Title IV to be more about enrichment, whether it be archery or learning a skill such as that. So we had to switch to 21-3 because now we're working about academics. Some of our schools, elementary, for example, WIC, they're focusing on our bubble students. So they actually have their list of students actually coming in getting support from their staff. So it can vary by school based on the leadership at that school and what it looks like, but mostly around academic support for students who are struggling or need enrichment.
Will we be providing transportation for after school
Yes,
for all students, or is it based on building?
for all students. And that's paid through 23G grant.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I like to hear that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Are there any other questions? I do have Jared here. I don't know if you have any questions for him. I did want to lift up one piece, the license. Okay, now I'll make this quick. Got it. So the licenses, we are purchasing 20 licenses if approved. One thing I want to clarify, which I got clarity recently, is that only 5 students can be on that license. So that means a total of 100 students. But let's say I'm a student and I mastered the concept. So that means I can step away and another student can actually move into my license. So it's actually more than 100 students based on how they master a standard or master a skill.
It's
Correct.
So this license isn't assigned to a specific student. Okay.
That is correct.
It's assigned to a seat. Okay.
Correct.
Thank you, Dr. Gardner.
You're welcome.
Lester, yes. Evans,
Yes.
McCarthy,
Yes.
Laster.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Next, we have Big Adam Dennison, not the little one, coming up for the report of the Director of Technology. Integrated Technology, I apologize. Let me put respect on your title.
Good evening, Board.
Good evening.
Madam
So-
President,
Go ahead.
I'm going to read the motion. Madam President, move that the Board of Education approves the 2024 Ramos Community Schools Technology Agreement as presented. The rationale is student accountability. Exhibits as the agreement is attached, were given to us.
Support.
Motion by Wester, supported by McCarthy.
And Adam, if you just wanted to clear, like, our little conversation in the hallway.
Yes, so you should have probably 2 copies with you. One was on top of everything when you first arrived. I did make a mistake, and I forgot to remove one piece of it. We are not collecting at the end of the year.
You are not
We're
collecting
not
them?
collecting at the end of the year. Right, well, I can get into that.
Okay, is there a complete inventory list of, and who holds what computer?
We have everything now. We have all the devices. Anything that was not returned is disabled. We required every student to return their device at the end of the school year so we could do a mass audit and inventory.
Okay,
We have a full list. I don't have it in front of me, but
that's fine.
we absolutely have an inventory, and that's broken down by funding, title funding, general general funding, ESSER. And we're all properly labeled, and they're ready to go for the school
How
year.
many computers were not returned?
Roughly about 150.
And we know who those students were that have them or did not return them?
Well, we have, what we have is our serial numbers in the student information file, and whatever, if they didn't turn in that serial number, we disabled that device, so.
And so how will we handle that student with a need for another computer?
We'll collect it when we see them, when they come to try and have a device assigned to them, we will ask them about that said device. If it's lost, gone, they don't know about it, we would have to charge them for it.
Okay. And I understand that, and unfortunately, collecting the money is, another story within itself. And I read your in-depth program and how you're planning on doing everything. The one thing in here that I'm questioning, and I'm not questioning you, I'm questioning the accessibility to a booklet of the handbook. Is the handbook up to date, and it includes this policy? And how do the students get the handbook?
If the board approves this, then it'll be electronic and available to them online.
Okay,
Yep.
so parents will sign for the devices
We'll
online?
be requiring that, yes.
Okay,
If they want to use a district device, we'll be requiring them to sign an agreement. Now, mind you, they do not have to use our devices.
okay, well, that's fine, yeah.
The only time they absolutely have to use our devices is for state testing, because I can't deploy state testing software to personal devices.
Right, okay. Very good, thank you.
Hi. So will students keep their Chromebooks from 6th grade up until 12th grade?
So the goal is, right now, that every year, every sixth grader will get a brand-new Chromebook, and they will keep that up until they graduate. And when they graduate, they will get to keep that device. There are expiration dates on these devices, so we have to get rid of them no matter what, right? So why not give a student incentive to take care of their device, and have them understand that, hey, this will be yours even after you graduate.
And what about software updates for their Chromebooks? How would we go about doing that?
So those are deployed automatically, and those are pushed out sporadically. We don't push them out all at once because it would be just too much. So they're pushed out through every 3 days. They're kind of sporadic, so it doesn't chew up bandwidth on the network. They can be updated from at home too. And you heard Dominic talk earlier that we can monitor these devices in their home too, and also push updates out. Once they graduate high school and they keep the device, it comes off of our system, and then Google will automatically update.
Okay. Is there a reason why you don't want them turned in at the end of the year for
It's a nightmare.
inventory?
It's a nightmare. It's an absolute nightmare. It takes all summer to sort it out, to clean them, to reassign them. It's just way easier to have the student just keep them over the summer, and then require them to bring them back on the first day.
Thank you.
No problem.
Roll call? You ready for roll call? You sure? Wester, yes. McCarthy,
Yes.
Evans,
Yes.
and Laster.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you, Board.
Thank you, Mr. Dennison. Next, we have the report of the Director of Operations, Mr. Jason Perkins.
Hello, good evening, everyone. So yeah, just going to give some updates from my department, kind of what we've been working on all summer, just a high-level view of the projects we were working on and kind of where we're at with them. I'll kind of go project by project and stop in between in case you guys have any questions about the specific project. So first up is the STEAM Move middle school improvements. So we've done some wonderful improvements over at the middle school. We took on painting 9 rooms. The painting is complete. Carpeting 15 rooms. That's with the addition of the rooms that were not STEAM at the request of the Board of Education. So that totaled 15 rooms. And as of yesterday, all 15 rooms are complete. So just in the nick of time, we're putting all that furniture back into those classrooms. The furniture that was moved over from WIC to the middle school is now in all the classrooms. The principal's furniture was moved over, so all the furniture's been moved over. Rooms are painted, carpeting's down, just in the nick of time, and we're ready for school. The rooms upstairs at the middle school look amazing. So any questions on middle school or STEAM Move?
How many rooms are left to carpet?
Well, upstairs, that was all of them that were bad.
But we
So
agreed that you were going to do the whole building.
downstairs, yeah, we talked about maybe next year phasing in those improvements and possibly doing downstairs next year.
All right.
They were not planned for this summer, nor would they have fit
No,
into
I
our
agree that,
schedule.
I agree.
Yeah.
I thought maybe that during the breaks and things like that, a couple could be done, but okay.
I'd love to talk about that in the sinking fund
In the
committee.
sinking fund, right?
Absolutely. We're open to that.
And we could get Mr. Van Hook's input also?
Of course. Wouldn't do it without him.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Next up is the media center at the middle school. So they did not receive new carpet in the media center at the middle school, but there was a lot of patching that was going on. So where the old bookshelves were, a lot of the carpet patching needed to take place. That has been completed. The new paint color is in the media center, and about half of the furniture has arrived. For the new furniture there for the media center. We are still waiting on some of the furniture to come in. It's anticipated to be in within the next week or so. So not sure if it'll be in just quite for the start of school, but if not, very shortly thereafter. Any questions on the media center at the middle school? The kitchen equipment one, you guys remember that, all the kitchen equipment that was damaged? We repurchased that kitchen equipment. It has now been installed at all the buildings, which is wonderful for the food service program and for the children for the new equipment. So it's all been installed. There was a lot of electrical that needed to change, plugs and things like that. We still have an electrician coming out this week to change 2 more plugs at WIC and Barth. So all the equipment's installed. The old equipment has been taken out. Just a couple more things on the electrical, which should be completed this week. Any questions on kitchen?
Speaking of kitchens, and it's room 507, how's that going?
Sure, that's on my list.
Okay.
I'm getting there. But next up is transportation. Just an update from the operations department on transportation that we received today, 4 of the 5 new buses that you guys approved. So thank you for that. If you guys remember, the 5th one was the special ed bus that was going to take just a little bit longer. We haven't received that one quite yet, but the 4 are in. They look wonderful. They're fully outfitted. I added them to our insurance policy today, so they should be on the road very soon. Any questions about the buses?
Will the special ed bus be here by school start or no?
I doubt it. I doubt it. So if you guys remember, it was a lease that another local school district was leasing that bus, and when their lease is terminated, that's when we'll take possession of it. I think they were using it for their summer program, so it's going to be right there into summer, beginning of school. So I'm anticipating in the next couple weeks to have that. Next up is 507. 507's going great. It looks wonderful. So the new paint color is awesome. The ceiling is in. The new lighting is in. If you guys remember, that was going to go like a week or two into the start of school, which we anticipated. Then that construction company kind of got ahead of schedule, which never happens, which was awesome. We were anticipating possibly it being done by the start of school. I don't think that's going to quite happen. We're still kind of back to that maybe week or two into school starting for that room to be complete. Most of that is dependent on inspections. So we received the mechanical and fire suppression inspections. Will be this week. I'm sorry, those we're still waiting on. Electrical we received and is passed. Plumbing next week. Once we have all the inspections, we'll get our certificate of occupancy, which is the big one to move into the room. So getting close, but still probably going to be a couple weeks on that one. But it's coming out great. Looks awesome. Any questions on 507? All right, next up is the drinking fountains. So you guys remember that project. Some of the drinking fountains have been installed, not all of them. So we wanted to get them all done before the start of school. That was kind of a tall order, which didn't really get completed. But we did get some of them installed at the high school upstairs specifically, and right out here outside of the board office. So we have some of them installed, but still waiting on others at Wick Elementary and a couple other places. So we're getting there, though. And we're well ahead of the filter first mandate that's coming down, as you guys remember. So we're way ahead of that and doing good. Any questions on drinking fountains? Last but not least is the cafeterias. So the cafeterias, so in preparation of the new furniture coming for the cafeterias, we went and removed all of the old tables out of the cafeterias. Well, guess what? Now the cafeteria tables are late and they might not be here in time for the start of school. The good news is we didn't get rid of the old cafeteria tables.
Indian style, Indian style.
I mean, it is what it is. There's nothing we can do. We've called the company. We've complained. It's not even our provider. It's his provider and shipping and logistics. It is what it is. The good news is my team is prepared to put the old tables back in if needed. We're waiting for a phone call tomorrow to see really the specifics of exactly when this furniture is going to be here. But it is what it is. My team's ready. We're prepared to put the old tables back in there if we have to for the first week of school, and hopefully shortly thereafter get the new furniture that the students chose into the cafeterias. So any questions about cafeterias? That's pretty much the high-level view from our department, what we were working on over the summer. There's a number of other projects that we did work on this summer that I didn't really bring up. Those are kind of the big ones. I want to take this time to express gratitude to my team. If it wasn't for them, we couldn't have done any of this. Custodial and maintenance worked very hard, very diligently this summer to prepare these buildings for the start of the school year. So just thank you to my team. It's been great, especially with me being new and new department. And we took on a big chunk this summer. So just thank you to my team for getting us to where we are today and ready for the start of a great school year. So just looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Well,
guys.
I certainly want to thank you because, you came to us mid-year with a whole lot of stuff on the plate, and then you're replacing somebody who's been here for a long time. And I feel very comfortable with everything that you've done, your leadership, your experience, the fact that you know how to work. You're a people person. I mean, really good. And then you have these projects in line. So definitely appreciate you and your team. And I get to work with you, so I get to see you. And I get to golf with you, too, so that's fun as well.
Thank you, Dr. Edmondson. That means a lot coming from you. Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Thanks,
I just
board.
wanted to say thank you. You always lift up your team. That's amazing. And I shoot you an email like, can you just give an update because this board member had a question, and you just go above and beyond. So thank you.
It's awesome. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you guys. I've loved it being here, too. It's been a blessing. So thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Okay, so, Board, we had talked about the possible lease extension agreement for Merriman and possibly a new purchase agreement coming through for another buyer that has come through. And so I would like to make the motion at this time to terminate the existing contract for 15303 Merriman Road with Elohim Kingdom Ministries, and the deposit of earnest money in the amount of $20,000 be returned to them. To terminate the existing contract for 15303 Merriman Road with Elohim, Elohim Kingdom Ministries, and the earnest money deposit of $20,000 be returned. That's my motion.
Support. It's a motion by Evans, supported by Wester. Discussion.
Did the deal just fall through with the original buyer?
Yes, they never have completed, they didn't meet their closing date, and they want us to get into an extension with land contract, and we, it just hasn't been completed at their required date of closing. It wasn't met.
Okay. Does the new buyer have a conditional approval already?
There's a letter that we received. It's going to be a cash deposit, it's going to be cash. They're putting in a deposit of $25,000 immediately, and they want to close, it doesn't say it in this letter, but according to the realtor, our realtor, they want to close within 60 to 90 days. They know the building, they know it well, they just want it.
You said it's a cash offer?
Yes. That's what I was told.
Can't beat the cash.
Mm-mm.
An immediate deposit will be made. All right. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Evans,
Yes.
McCarthy,
Yes.
Laster,
Yes.
Wester, yes. Motion is approved.
Thank you. We are at the report of boards.
Madam President, now we have a motion. I'm sorry, I
No,
didn't
you
mean
didn't.
to.
I thought it was just the one. I apologize.
A motion to authorize the superintendent to negotiate the sale of 15303 Merriman Road property with Gaber Health Sciences Corporation.
Support.
And you have supporting documentation for the new purchaser. This 4.92 acres is the dog park. They're aware of the lease with the city, and that lease will just transfer from Romulus Community Schools to them, to the new buyer, okay? Earnest deposit of $25,000 will be made immediately. And as they said, they want to proceed, they want an agreement immediately to proceed with this acquisition.
It's been motioned by Evans, supported by Wester.
Evans,
Yes.
McCarthy,
Yes.
Laster,
Yes.
Wester, yes. Motion is approved.
Any more, Sue?
No, that's it, thank you.
No problem. Report of board subcommittees.
The sinking fund hasn't met for a couple weeks. We need to make a meeting with Jason. We haven't set up, the new finance committee hasn't met with Maria yet. We need to contact her to set one up. But Jason went through everything that the sinking fund had talked about. We do have a hierarchy that we want to work on, new projects that we will start building at our next meeting.
For the policy committee, I'll be getting with Darcy, Vice President Davis. We're looking to set up a meeting for some time next month. So we'll get those dates out.
All right, thank you. Over at the report of the board president. I want to thank everybody for coming out. I want to thank the cabinet for all of we saw everybody basically. So that's why, Miss Rita, we at 8:36, but. I know. So I will be brief. I know that Eve sent out the board calendar for the board's pleasure to view with some important dates on there. We will continue forth with doing the board briefs. They will go out to the board and to the entire district. I did have a board member speak to me about the expectations of what I wanted to see with board members going to the school. I wrote down a few things because it was a lot of narrative behind the board is this kind of like, ooh, the board, you know, or don't talk to the board. And I guess that's true in a certain degree of like when we just paint the narrative of negativity. So I always just say the board is the family. You can't choose your family and you can't choose the board members that sit next to you. So for the duration of our terms, we just have to work together. I think we're on a good path. A lot of people that come in for trainings always say, wow, you guys actually, you're not that bad. So we do want to put our best foot forward. I do want us to have executive walks where we go into the schools as a team. So it's not this just forbidden thing like don't talk to the board, but we're there to get the positives, meet the students, shake the hand so the staff knows us. We're in the trenches, but we're not stepping on the day-to-day and what the admin is doing, but it's a collaborative effort of us just working together. So that's my vision for it, not to go in and say, oh, they were just sitting down, but just, hey, little Johnny, and just things just bring back pride that we see in the school. So that's just, I wanted to clarify that. I do look forward to being in the schools, and I do look forward to the board members having their own home schools. I know I had a board member say she's going to be there on the first day of school. So we'll just make it where it's not just an uncomfortable thing, because I know there's a narrative out there of don't talk to board members, and it shouldn't be like that. But it should be a process of what you're talking about with board members. And then when board members bring information forth, it should be the correct information that we're putting out there. So that's what I foresee with board members going into the schools and us moving forward to, like we always say, move the district forward. So that is my 2 cents on that. I thanked everyone for coming out, and I also wanted to say, sorry, I got notes everywhere. Y'all know how I be. I think I covered it. Board calendar briefs. Thank you, Jason, for the timeline of everything. Oh, this is something that I wanted to say as well. I get a lot of questions, whether it is phone calls at the table and things of that sort. We already do the Google Doc. So I want to make a tab where it is questions that are raised at the table, where Eve or myself can have it right here, your questions, and then we go forth with just placing them in there. So it's in one area, the questions that you guys ask to the cabinet and the questions that are brought forth. Because I've been wrestling with how to get information out. Do I send a FYI? Do I do this? So that's what I want to move forward with having everything in one central location. So I just wanted to say that to everybody versus hitting you guys with another email. And for the members that are not here. That's all I have. Thank you. Oh, we're on you guys. No. Miss Wester.
As usual, just want to thank everyone for coming out. Welcome to all our brand new staff. Looking forward to working with you. Mr. Hooks, it was nice meeting you in person. Looking forward for you bringing some life and stuff to the district.
Mr. Van Hooks.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Van Hooks. I'm sorry, Mr. V. Don't look. Try to turn my head around. It's been a long day. But no, just thank everyone for coming out as usual and supporting and all the work that Dr. E and the staff are doing. I mean, it's evident in the presentations that we received today. So just looking forward to working together. Have a good evening.
Treasurer McCarthy.
Eagle Nation, I just personally want to say thank you for not only coming out tonight, but all of your support over the years for me and my basketball program at Romulus with the Lady Eagles. It was time for me to be a mom. For the last 12 years, my kids have always been engulfed in what I had going on at Romulus, engulfed in the culture. And it's time for me to be there for them and what they have going on with the son entering into high school and one right behind him. In addition to my daughter, it's time for me to be the #1 mom. So please do not feed into any other narrative from anyone else. I just wanted to set the record straight publicly. Nobody is forcing me out and forcing me to do this. Believe it or not, some people do make decisions for the betterment of their family and their lives. So I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you, Treasurer and Coach McCarthy. Trustee Evans.
I just want to say thank you to the staff. Welcome, Mr. Van Hooks. Any other new members that are out here? I don't see any new employees. Thank you for the clarification on things as questions that I've asked and misunderstandings. Dr. Gardner, thank you, all the staff for information. Have a great night.
And last but certainly not least, Dr. Edmondson.
Appreciate it. We'll see you at Brott's Barbecue and back to school. That's the next function that I'll see you at. That's it. Have a great night.
Motion to adjourn.
Support. At 8:42.
All in favor?